Good evening, YouTube. Today I've watched this video from Keenan Bexty from Rebel Media talking about a young lady in a high school getting suspended for defending the veteran red and black poppy as a symbol just for veterans and a symbol of Remembrance Day and a symbol for remembering those who died for freedom. So just watch and I will comment after the video has concluded here for Rebel. So, thank you.
It was not intended to be in any way hateful or a hate crime. It was intended to be me voicing my opinions, beliefs, and how I felt about things.
She was suspended, and I quote from Mr. Castle's words, that she was being suspended for hate speech. And when I tried to defend her and the other girl involved, he started raising her voice, and that's when I ended the meeting and left.
Of a poppy-related controversy where a student ended up getting expelled for posting posters around the school saying that she wants the poppy to remain the poppy that every Canadian knows and honors. Members of the faculty wanted Natalie and her school friends to don an abridged version of the poppy, an LGBT rainbow version of the poppy, and Natalie simply wasn't having any of it. I caught up with Natalie and her father earlier today. Natalie, would you be able to tell me how this all started?
It started when a few teachers and students started to try to force their beliefs and their ways of living onto us by saying that we should wear a multicolored poppy during our Remembrance Day service today at school. But I feel strongly against it. My grandparents, they fought in the war. They might not have died, but they still did it, so that has a big impact on my life. And so I decided that I would go to school, type up some papers of my opinions and how I was feeling and my beliefs about it. And I went around and I taped them up on the walls of the school, and they instantly got taken down. And the principals pulled me into the office and began to yell at me and accuse me of hate crime and hate speech. It was not intended to be in any way hateful or a hate crime. It was intended to be me voicing my opinions, beliefs, and how I felt about things.
She was suspended, and I quote from Mr. Castle's words, that she was being suspended for hate speech. And when I tried to defend her and the other girl involved, he started raising her voice, and that's when I ended the meeting and left.
Now, do you think it was hate speech?
No, there's nothing hateful in it. She's voicing her opinion, which they're taught in school, that everybody has an opinion, but unfortunately, it's been, you're allowed to have an opinion as long as it doesn't offend a certain group, whether it be LGBTQ or a race or a religion or anything. If it offends, you're supposed to keep it to yourself, and that's not how I taught my daughter.
So, I just wanted to, because later on they're going to question the principal and so on, and that person is essentially going to deny everything and say, I won't comment. So what they say is absolutely irrelevant. Firstly, I would like to read to you the letter itself. So it reads, "Never seen something so disrespectful in all of my days. What does LGBTQ have to do with the war? Red represents blood, black represents widows and loved ones. Green represents land the blood was spilled on. Never change the poppy. Way to undo centuries of blood, sweat, and tears, all because you need to do the dishes. Keep it in your pants, nobody wants to see it. You've got a whole month dedicated to the LGBTQ community, but the people who legitimately made a difference and died so that we could live decent lives have one day. Yous don't need a poppy. You just clearly just want attention. One day to remember the real heroes. How about we don't make it about your sexuality for once? If you didn't make such a big deal about it and force people to make it a part of their lives, there would be no problem. Okay. Her grammar is a little bit poorly put together, but the sentiment of her letter is quite clear. So on the one hand, you have the LGBTQ, and on the other, well, the rights afforded to the LGBTQ community, and then on the other you have tradition, which obviously her parents have educated her about the tradition because she seems to be very close to her family and her grandparents, and she has intimate knowledge of their experience in the war and so on, and she takes this holiday very seriously. To her credit. I also feel that on Remembrance Day we should wear the red and black poppies because that's been our tradition forever, as long as, well, since I was a child, as long back as I can remember. So to me, take out the LGBTQ for a moment. I wonder if I can show you a picture of the revised poppy. Here it is. So this is the revision representing the rainbow, let's call it the rainbow flag of the LGBTQ community. So I guess I feel very strongly that our traditions in this country are being undermined. And I think if you watch my videos in the past, you've seen my frustration with how Canada is losing itself, its identity, its history. It's almost as though Canada itself, its history is actually being suppressed, ignored. But when we pass traditions down to our kids, that's something sacred, something very valuable. Nobody can take that away from us. Even after this whole debacle, I hope that this young lady stays on her point and she doesn't apologize, because putting the LGBTQ aside, she's defending the tradition and values of her family first. And the fact that she responded in this way is a bit of an extremism act, but it has to be, because they're trying to suppress the freedom of thought and freedom of expression that she's been raised by. Her own father admitted, I didn't raise my daughter that way, to bite your tongue and keep your thoughts to yourself. So she is a person that deeply believes in what she talks about. So I believe what she wrote there. Never change the poppy. Red represents blood. Black represents widows and loved ones. Green represents the land the blood was spilled on. That's a great point. That is a very, you can see the reasoning behind it, that's tradition behind that statement. We don't have any quarrels with the LGBTQ. That's obvious. This is not about hate crimes or trying to get mad at the LGBTQ community. No. This is about a preservation of tradition. And the fact that she was suspended for supposed hate crimes for defending the poppy is absolutely a ridiculous sentiment, and I would have my daughter pulled out of that school and put somewhere else. I'd attack the school board as well. In essence, when we come to this point, what's left of the traditions that we hold dear from being attacked? If in education they're already attacked, and if this person, say tomorrow, is, after being sternly penalized, let's say, for her actions, after that, if she bends to their wishes and she doesn't do it again, then someone's freedom of speech got suppressed. Let's just say like that. Somebody whose genuine opinion gets suppressed in the name of hate speech, or rather the pretense of hate speech. I don't think she'll be charged, but at the same time there was real consequences for her producing this letter. Now, she could have phrased it in a way that was a little bit more reasonable, but in high school we don't expect her to have everything perfectly polished, if you know what I mean. They're still learning. They're still very young at that age. But the fact that she has fire behind and passion behind that message is not a hate crime. It's a defense, standing in defense of tradition, which has great value. Tradition is sacred. Nobody in this country will deny what our soldiers did who died for this country or have been severely injured for this country, and that great sacrifice for freedom that they made. So I would like you to comment whether or not you think this is a overstep of the bounds in which tradition, sacred tradition, is violated. Do you think that the red and black poppy should be changed to this poppy? Is that what we are now? Is that symbol, those colors, going to override every other tradition that we possess? To me, the rainbow, I look at it from the Old Testament. When Noah and his family survives the flood, God puts a rainbow in the sky. I place my bow in the sky to make my promise with thee, my covenant with thee, that I will never again drown the world in waters. Right? So in some cases, the rainbow means more than just that group. That rainbow has a deeper meaning than that group. Just as the poppy has a deeper meaning for Canadians than just a physical display. It's a very, very powerful symbol. So there's one other thing that I wanted to mention before I close. I feel very much, and you know my opinion if you've been watching my videos, I do feel Canada is losing its identity. That beautiful, charitable people that we are. We are extremely charitable. And I hate to see our traditions being suppressed and ignored a little infraction like this. So I defend the girl for trying to defend the traditions that her family passed down to her. I defend that point. She had every right to uphold the traditions and values of her family. In a world, in a country that's supposedly free, that kind of thing, if it is your opinion, it doesn't matter too much to me, because it is a representation of a tradition we've celebrated for decades, for as long as we've been a country. But comment, please. Let me know your thoughts on changing the poppy, the loss of our freedom to voice our concern about these things, automatically turn to radicalism and hate speech. Even one's opinion, you're already put against the wall, so to speak. This kind of thing cannot be tolerated. It is a serious infringement on freedom. So, with that, I thank you for your attention, and comment and let me know what you think. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.